Hello, everybody. James here, WSI, and I thought I'd have a little treat. I had excuse me, I can't even say your name, Greg the Hammer Valentine on. I'm sorry, Greg. I blew that one already, but I'm going to carry on. And I thought, do you know what? Instead of me asking you a load of impertinent questions, I thought I'd get one of the other greatest intercontinental champions of all time to ask you questions, interrogate you for a while, and here he is, Don the Rock Muraco.
Yeah.
Yes, Don. Yes, Greg.
Still one half of the Midwest Tag Team Champions.
Oh my God, that's right. You remember that?
Yeah.
In Omaha, Nebraska, we were the Midwest Tag Team Champions or something like that.
For Joe Dusick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But you came down from Minneapolis, right?
I was working for Vern, yeah, and you came up from Watts or
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that? Joe. What was his name? Joe
Dusick.
Joe Dusick. Exactly. Good old guy.
And his brother was referee. He was a crowbar. Ernie, right?
Yeah. That was Omaha was a good town for wrestling.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were the Midwest Tag Team Champions.
Still,
and I think we never dropped the belts. We were
never dropped. I don't think we ever even defended them.
Yeah, and then I went somewhere else. You went somewhere else. So
yeah,
no one ever got those belts.
I don't. Yeah. Well, that's 50 years ago. Jesus Christ. Oh, so I got a handful of questions from James to ask you, but okay. I don't, Tito and all that stuff, and how you're friends with this guy and blew up bad. But I want to ask, what do you think about the business today? I know you get asked over and over again about the past, and what's going on. What do you think about what's going on down in the business today, and who do you like?
Gag me with a spoon. You know what? I don't watch it. I went to WrestleMania to the Hall of Fame thing. That was okay in LA, but because I live in Vegas, I drove over there. But the product, I just some stuff is good, but I'm not a fan anymore. I'm just not. I don't like it.
I closet. I call it. I'm a closet watcher. There's a few. I like Dusty. I love Dusty's boy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly.
I think
so
he's the best. I think he's the best promo guy I've ever seen.
Yeah.
My whole time, my whole thing in the business. I like his organization, his delivery, everything about his promos.
Yeah. I like Roman Reigns.
I like Roy. Yeah. I like. I think the guys get a bad rap because of all when we were working, we picked up from the guys that were before us, like Dory Jr., or Billy Robinson, or Vern, or somebody like that, and we inundated your dad and inundated that style into ours eventually, and that's how these guys have become with all the flipping and flopping and 3 suplexes off the top rope every match. It's and then kick out.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I don't like. I like ground pound like we used to do. We took bumps, but we wrestled. We made it believable. The wrestling that they're doing. I mean, these guys are better athletes probably than me and you or anybody. They're just great athletes, but they don't put together a match that's believable. Not all of them, but to me, when I watch, I go, I mean, it's just, I guess the fans like it, but I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I think everybody, you get educated to like what you're seeing. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
So if I watched it every week, then I would be used to it. But if I just turn it on every once in a while, I go. And AEW is just as bad. I mean, it's just these guys just jump up and down like a bunch of Mexican jumping beans.
Yeah.
And it's not a believable contest, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I just hate to see the boys catching all the flack for that, because they're just riding in and out with whatever tide happens to come along. And that's what we're buying today. We're buying oranges and not apples, and then tomorrow it's a different thing. So that's the way these guys are brought up. I don't, sometimes I see unjust criticism of the guys that are working now.
Well, some of the stuff they do out there in the ring is unbelievable, and they're really talented. But to get into it, I have, for me to get into it, and it's hard.
Yeah, no, you can't. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. But I look now too, and I look at these. If I was an orthopedic surgeon, I'd just be going to the bank buying buildings and stuff now. Because there's so many guys who are going to need replacements here and replacements there.
Yeah.
And going through
wait till they get in their 30s and 40s.
It's crazy. What do you like now?
What's that? Who do I like?
Roman.
Yeah, for lack, I don't watch the product. I guess Cody Rhodes. I like him. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That manager.
Excuse me. Well, you know what it is about these guys drawing houses, and it goes back to the credibility and stuff. Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, even Roman now, he's gotten over. So if you show you're a tough son of a bitch, even like John Cena, or and people believe in you.
Yeah.
And people believe, then you can sell tickets. Like Lesnar, he's not. There's nothing sparkling or anything about him, but with the MMA and the other stuff, he's credible and people believe in him. And
they just know he's a tough son of a bitch. Yeah.
Yeah, and they, and he sells tickets. The same with Angle, or all the guys that are, they're doing business now.
Right.
They're believable, and even if they got a background, and even if it's a lousy match or whatever. They're still believable, and then that they're able to stay on top.
Yeah. So is Kurt Angle still working for them?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, he retired a few years ago. I think his neck's just too far gone.
Yeah.
Several.
But he was great, still great. But like Don says, there's a few guys that stand out, and but all the jumping bean guys, they got lots of talent. They're very athletic. Please,
there's one guy I love though. That the jumping bean guy is Rey Mysterio's son.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What a look on the guy's face is just. I'd like to jump through the screen and punch him myself. He gets great heat just standing there. Just look at him.
Yeah.
He's just a heat machine. He's great.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And Ray and a couple other guys. I've been really taken back by Cody Rhodes. And really, sometimes I know the show's gone, and I'll just fast forward through everything to catch his promo or whatever angle he's doing. I like the way he organizes his promo, his thoughts, and his delivery on his speech. He's like his dad. And he's like Piper, but yet he's got himself. He's
a chip off the old block. Yeah, he's very good.
I think he should be renting out auditoriums and doing Tony Robbins' self-improvement speeches instead of taking bumps.
A good point. Yeah.
Who else is out in Vegas with you?
Well, let's see. Rob Van Dam's out there. Jake Roberts was out there, but he moved back to Atlanta. I think just me and Rob Van Dam, we're about the only ones in Vegas.
So you gave up Tampa.
yeah, I just, I sold my house there, and 34 years, that's long enough to live someplace. Sold the house. I had a condo and I sold that too. So the wife, her dad back in the day was a big time gambler. What they called him a whale. And she used to go to Vegas with her dad all the time. She goes, I want to move to Vegas. I go, you got to be kidding me. But she talked me into it, and I've been there 5 years. I really like it. I really do. I'm away from that humidity and the rain all the time, and I grew up in Los Angeles anyway, so Vegas is awesome. I like it. Not Los Angeles. Los Angeles ain't what it used to be.
Oh.
But
how many of the boys Vegas. Left? You see many of them? Beefcake and not a lot of guys
Brutus. I'll see Brutus. I see him around. I see Tito. In fact, I'll see Tito tonight. He's coming.
Some of those guys have made a great business out of the birthday greetings, or the greetings and the with the face. I started with James here. I started in all with COVID. The COVID was the one that got me. I was locked in the house all the time. So this other guy called me up, and I started a podcast. And I got together with James, and we did this for about a year, which was a good time. And then it's God, there's nothing else. There was nothing else to do at the time. But I found it enjoyable. Yeah. Or in Appalachian wrestling, you're on the East Coast somewhere.
Yeah, I've never been here before, but this is I'm in Charleston, West Virginia.
Oh.
Yeah, I went to Atlanta and then flew up here today. No sleep, been up all night. But it's a beautiful day here. Atlanta, the weather sucked down there, but beautiful day here. Really nice.
If
you're still doing a bunch. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to jump in and ask, right? Because I know, Greg, you just said you were never a fan of Los Angeles, or you're not a fan of Los Angeles now. Was this like when you were wrestling there, or was it just the city itself?
No, I liked it then. I loved it then. I lived. My first daughter was born in Reseda, California, up in the valley. That was 1975. I loved it there, and then I left and went to Florida in 76, but I was there about 74, 70. I was there for 2 years. John Tolis was there, Freddie Blassie. It was a great crew, Gordman and Goliath. And we did, the Olympic Auditorium, I think, ran every Friday night. And Saturday we did San Diego, and Sunday, San Bernardino. Monday was Bakersfield. It was just a good territory. Good old territory. Now, this is way back, 1975. It was a long time.
Humperdinck and the boys, right?
Yeah.
Hump and the Blondes.
Humperdinck, the Hollywood Blondes. Humperdinck, oh my God. God bless them. And so right after I left, and then I went to Florida. I think that's when Piper came in. And Piper was in LA for a while. And then we ended up hooking up together in Carolinas in 76, 77. So, but LA, I went there for the Comic-Con and the WrestleMania thing. And, it looked nice and everything, but it's just them damn Democrats, they ruined LA. I don't want to.
They still run big shows out there. I guess, they just ran WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. Just this past one.
Go on, Don.
I wanted to go.
I was going to say, Don, you're the host. You carry on, man.
What's that?
So you're the host, Don. So you throw all the questions at him.
Me some more.
I Lanny Poffo. I couldn't. He had such a.
Oh my God!
All of a sudden, he just passed. He was killing it. He was going to Germany and Japan, and
he was.
I would imagine he was making more money out of the business than he was making than when he was in the business.
He was living in Ecuador or something.
Yeah, so Central America.
He flew up to New York, and I don't know what I guess he was doing some kind of business up there, and he died. So
that
was a shocker. So, Randy died of a bad heart. So I guess Lanny had a bad heart too, but had to be. It was just
the old man and the wife lived forever. Angelo and his mom just passed away several years ago.
Right, they lived forever. His dad, So I don't know if that heart thing is always hereditary or not, but
I thought it was hard living.
I couldn't believe it when Lanny Poffo died. I could not.
Yeah, he was clean. He was as clean as a bar of soap, man.
Yeah. So maybe he's too clean.
Yeah, a lot to be said for a little whiskey and wine every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah. So
is pot legal in Vegas, Nevada?
Oh yeah.
Oh, right. So yeah,
they got these dispensaries.
Yeah,
and I don't smoke as much as I used to, but it's I go out and go up there and buy some joints, and the shit is so strong. You take one hit, and you don't need any more for a while. It's just really good shit. It's not the shit that you have to keep smoking it to get a buzz. It's just really, really strong. And they're pre-rolled. So I go up there and get a box of pre-rolls, and I love it. Yeah, it's been legal there for a while, and in LA too. So
yeah, Hawaii too.
Hawaii too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has that been? I don't know if it's legal, but it's not decriminalized anyway.
Decriminalized. Yeah, Vegas is full-blown legal. You go in there, you show them your driver's license, you go in there, a nice smell and everything, you just, I'll have that. It's a good deal. And the shit is strong. Shit.
Yeah, they know how to grow all this stuff down.
Strong.
Greg, can you confirm this for me? I think Don has admitted this, I think, when we used to do the podcast, but I believe that Don always had the hookup when you were on the road for the good weed. So you never got stuck with the old Mexican dirt weed?
No Mexican dirt weed. No. Yeah, Don always had to hook up.
You know what blows me away? I've been the WWE shows, or when Undertaker, Stone Cold, how they highlight these guys from the past and stuff. I can't believe how many of these guys went broke. Like they're talking about Dusty, he had every top shot that there was in the country, everywhere, always. And he had the booking and the thing, and I imagine your lifestyle had a lot to do with that. But boy, it just blows me away when they go, they go into this guy he died broke, and this one, is having financial problems.
Yeah, I keep reading this stuff about Abdullah being broke.
Yeah.
And
I remember
how true it is. Yeah. He said he has no money at all. And
then it's funny, you passed him in the airport or something. Hey, baby, daddy, baby, and he'd pull out his wallet, and he kind of folded over, and there'd be a check there. I got this from Jimmy Crockett here, and this one from Barnett. $3,000, $4,000 check. That Abdullah. These are you had top shots, Japan. You just
But he made a fortune. He made a fortune in Japan, right?
Just Japan alone, yeah.
Oh my God, a fortune.
He was going 30 weeks a year.
Yeah, just so. I know he had the barbecue restaurant in Atlanta. He doesn't have that anymore. I just, it's bad management, I guess.
I know it's a shocker sometimes, and I kept, Dusty's one that really knocked me away because he was on top for so long, and he had every top, Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, and then he came up to New York. He had a great run up there.
Yeah, he was even a booker in Carolinas for a while.
Yeah,
So when he passed away, he was out of money. Dusty?
According to the thing no, I guess he'd gone back to work for NXT or something, and he was the promo coach doing promos.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah. So I guess he came back. I don't know. I just go by what I see on TV. I have no personal knowledge myself of actually of anybody.
Right.
But just what they report on TV.
Yeah, well, that was a shock, and I think I was still living in Florida when he passed away. I was just it's been a while, right?
Was he in Florida or Atlanta?
Okay.
I know it was like 2015 or something he died. It was around the time of, I think it was around the time Roddy Piper passed as well.
He was the first one, yeah. He went, and Piper went, and the guy's been dropping off since then.
Yeah. So I left Florida in 2017, went to Vegas, so yeah. That sucks.
Greg, there's something that when me and Don had the podcast that we always joked about, and it was your retelling of Don Muraco's final days in the WWF in 1988. Now, you tell the story really well. What do you remember of it? And then Don can tell us what he remembers of it.
Okay. We're in Italy, right? We're on this long long fucking tour. And I remember Nick Bockwinkel was the agent, and so we took I think we took a boat or a ferry or something. We took a boat to Sardinia, right?
Yeah, but they took us out of Rome and put us in Sardinia in a hotel that had a goat. They had a goat pasture right on top of the middle of a goat pasture. God!
But we took the boat out there, and then we got there, and then this hotel, and then so I remember we were having some kind of a meeting downstairs. It was like a lunchroom or something, and I don't know exactly how it started, but I remember you got up and you ripped your shirt off like Hulk Hogan. You went, "Whoa! What the fuck?" And Nick Bockwinkel, he says, "You're nothing but a damn pecker checker. You always want to look at someone's pecker so if they could see if they could pass the piss test. You fucking pecker checker." And you ripped your shirt. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Now I
there are parts of it, yeah.
I remember when I told the story, I remembered more of it. I haven't talked about it for a while, but I remember you were up on the stage and you tore into Nick Bockwinkel and you ripped your shirt off.
Yeah, that was Best move of my life. Getting fired. That was the best thing ever happened to me.
And you go, fuck you, you pecker checker. And then so I remember I go back up to my room, and next door to me is Backlund. I see him on the patio out there, and he's doing a bunch of push-ups. And I go, what are you doing? He goes, I got to get ready because Don the Rock's going to want to kick my ass. And so I remember we go back home, right? And me and you had just done an angle.
Just started, yeah, with Billy Graham.
With Billy Graham, I jumped him, and I still see it on YouTube all the time where I jumped him. It was so well done. I jumped him, and then and gave him a clothesline, and I used that shin guard, and I put the figure four on him, and he sold it like a champ. You had just chased Jimmy Hart out because he spit on you. So you come back, and then you see me there with a figure four, and you drop the elbow on me, and then I took off. So it was a beautiful angle. I was so excited about it. So then we went to Europe and did all that shit over there.
Yeah, that was
And we got hold of the liquid Valium. You remember that?
Yeah. You know the thing, Backlund was the first guy I loved. He was the first guy on TV over here that really got over. He was a baby face, and I used to take him surfing because he gave him and Tally Ho from the father. Yeah, and I just loved Nick. Oh, the greatest. So what happened there? I went to Minneapolis. Tally Ho got me to Minneapolis, AWA with Vern. So everybody was, Larry Hanning, Backlund, Ray. Everybody had wives and family. Same age as you, because that's when we were the tag team champ for Omaha. So we were the 20, 21 maybe. So I was, so did the Dennis? You remember Dennis Stamp?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, Dennis Backlund and Dennis Stamp had the ring. So when we get to North Dakota or out so I would hang with them, and he lived in Minneapolis. So it was back in the early 70s. So it's just like we don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee and all that.
Yeah,
that was all. So I think ended up Dennis OD'd in a bathroom in L.A. He was a junkie, yeah.
Dennis Stamp did?
No, Backlund.
Okay.
I think Nick blamed me for that. Because he thought I was around shooting up with them. I never did needles or heroin or any of that shit. But
no, we smoked.
He always had a hard on for me. So he was my hero coming out of as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
I'd taken him surfing. I took him out to Macau on a 10-foot day. Made sure he didn't get caught in the big sets and stuff. It was a life-changing moment.
Well, yeah. So anyway, let me get back to that story. So
okay, I didn't realize.
So the Bulldogs were on that, right? They both got fired.
Oh,
Jeff Yardell got fired, and you got fired. And so I went to Vince. I went to the office. I went right up to the office. I go, Vince, what the hell? I did this beautiful angle of Muraco, and you fired him. And he goes, well, he disrespect my agents. You know how he talks. Yeah. He disrespect my agents. And I go, fuck that. I got mad. I go, what the fuck? That's a beautiful, beautiful angle. And superstar Billy Graham is carried out on a stretcher. I says, what the fuck? I says, please bring him back. I begged for you to come back. He goes, nope, he's not coming back, Meg. Oh, God.
the luckiest thing of my life. That turn there.
So you never came back until they put you in the Hall of Fame.
No.
2004, right?
Yeah.
Because we both went in that same year.
Yeah.
You came
and
back.
Then I came back in
2004.
8 and induct Fuji.
Yeah. Okay.
But never went. I came back, knocked around for a while, promoted in New Zealand. Did a couple. They had a promotion here. I kept my name in it because my son was doing a bunch of goofy shit. So I wanted to keep my hat in the ring as far as being a professional wrestler and stuff. And that never worked. And then I got the job down the docks. And now I'm
I heard that.
Now everything's.
Well, that was good for you.
Yeah, that was the best move I ever made. Retirement, insurance, dental, the whole 9 yards now.
Yeah. That's awesome. But anyway, that's a great story. And I was so upset that we never got to do the angle.
Yeah.
I was really upset.
I was a wrestler following the Bulldogs around, drinking my coffee, looking at a handful of pills floating on the top.
Well, do you remember we were in some nightclub and there was this big table with a bunch of drinks and everybody was drinking. And I remember you were going like this. And all of a sudden, all this. Do you remember that?
Obviously, no. I was never. Must have been a Neverland. I don't know.
Oh, it was like a fire hose, a red fire hose. It was like, oh my God, I never seen anybody throw up like that. So, and there was girls sitting around, and I'm sitting on the other side looking at you, and the shit's going everywhere. Then you lay back, and then comes round two. And then everybody runs off. Oh my God.
Life on the road.
But here's what happened. We ingested liquid Valium. Not Valium pills, but liquid Valium.
Yeah.
And you could buy it legally over there. And it just made everybody sick. We just got too fucking high. That was after the Nick Bockwinkel thing. So that was a hell of a trip. The Bulldogs got fired. Junkyard Dog got fired. You weren't part of this, but we were on that 2-decker bus. You remember the 2-decker bus? And this network called Canal Network in France. And there was a spiral staircase and it went down. And I'm sitting down there by these girls that were with the network. And I guess, I don't remember who was peeing, but the piss was coming down the spiral staircase. Do you remember that?
No.
I don't know. You might have been sitting down there with me, but I think JYD was doing it, and the Bulldog, they were all peeing down the spiral staircase. What a trip! What a trip! 4 guys got fired. I was the only guy that had a job.
It was National Lampoon European Vacation.
Yeah, that would even be better. Yeah, I mean, my God.
Are you doing the birthday greetings and everything else, or do you just travel and do the shows and stuff?
I do that stuff on the Zoom or whatever it is.
Yeah.
My wife says, "Oh, you just got another one they want you to do. Say happy birthday to this and that," and we film it on the cell phone. But yeah, I do a lot of well, we got shut down for a while because of COVID, but now I'm back out there doing bookings, Comic Cons, and it's good. I'll be in Milwaukee in June, and I'll be back in New York and St. Louis, just all over the place. Here, I'm here for 3 days.
You like it?
Well, I'm doing
you like it? Still traveling and stuff?
No, I hate it. No, I like it, but I hate it. I hate the flights. You know, I hate flying, but it's not that bad. Once I get here, I end up having a good time. But living in Las Vegas, most of the work is Midwest to East Coast, so it's a lot of long flights. You know?
Yeah,
that's the only problem living in Vegas. I still like it though. I'm getting a lot of work out and around there too, but Northern California and stuff. But yeah, it's still hard, the trips. But I like getting out. You know.
Who else is on the road now with
well, Tito's going to be here today. Tito Santana's going to be here.
Tito,
I don't know who's going to be here tomorrow. There's a bunch of guys going to be here tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know who's here.
I went to a convention this weekend, and there's loads of guys from like Demolition. Both of those guys are still on the road. Barbarian and Warlord are still doing it. Some guys like that. Some guys from the 90s, obviously.
In England?
Yeah, it was in Manchester, so it was only down the road for me. So I stuck my head in and had a look. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to just go totally off the deep end. I've just written a couple of things that I was hoping both of you could speak on. Is Don is associated with Mr. Fuji. Obviously, Greg, your dad, Johnny. Who, you're both associated with some of the all-time biggest ribbers, greatest ribbers ever. The Bulldogs as well, of course. You got to give us some rib stories. Who was the greatest ribber of all time, do you think?
Oh, well, I think my dad was, but that's the other generation, that 60s generation, and part of the 70s, but the Bulldogs, they took over that. They took over the ribbing for a while. They were pretty wild. They were always doing something, you know.
They were ruthless.
Oh, they were bad ribs too.
Yeah.
They were bad ribs. And
some guys driving back from Vegas.
I was in Japan with them, and they put, remember those halcyons? That shit, halcyons. Well,
whatever they had, whatever with Valium halcyon.
They put some halcyons. They dropped a couple in the beer I was drinking, and it was foaming up. But I was so stupid, I drank the beer anyway. And I went upstairs. I went across the street, and went up into my hotel room, and in the morning, they were bang, bang, bang. The bus was there to pick us up. This was in Japan, and they had to drag me out. I was passed out from those Bulldogs putting the halcyons in my beer. Oh my God!
Yeah, those my European vacation moments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was brutal. So from then on, I would check all my food and everything, make sure I didn't have any of those blue pills in there.
Was that what Fuji used to do as well, or was he more creative?
Who's that?
Mr. Fuji.
Oh God. Yeah, he always, I could tell you some stuff, but I got a real good story, but I can't tell you the story.
Oh.
It's too gross. And my wife watches these things too, so no, it's too gross.
That's the problem with these things, man.
Yeah.
You can only go so far.
She watches. It's nothing that I did. It's just something that Fuji did, and oh my God, you know. But anyway,
Fuji would make a production of it. Fuji would, he'd put time, he'd put money, he'd put whatever, you know. Yeah. I had a truck. I left with a truck with him when I was in New York, came back to Hawaii, and then went back with the truck. And, you know, I didn't like a bunch of lights and stuff. I came back and I had a pickup truck that was covered with all kinds of big lights on the top and all kinds of shit. You know, it must have cost them, you know, in those days, you know, $500-600 to put all, you know, this is a long time ago, to put all those, now it'd be a couple grand. But you know, just about everything he did backfired, because coming back from Allentown one night, he had to follow me because my truck lights were so bright.
Oh man!
Can you tell any about your dad, Greg? That he'd, because I heard one the other day about the inhaler, and is it Yukon John or something?
No, that
Jay
was
York.
Jay York, sorry.
Jay York. Yeah, that's a classic because
that's notorious.
Yeah, because he had this atomizer and he'd go out and wrestle. He'd come back in, and you know he couldn't breathe. He'd go, and he'd hit that atomizer. Well, my dad put lighter fluid in, so he came out of the ring and he hit it, and I guess he fell down. I mean, oh my God, it's all that lighter fluid went in his lungs, and he knew it was Johnny Valentine. So my dad's standing there with the Halliburtons back in the day when we had all the Halliburtons, and story has it that he took a shotgun and shot right at my dad, but he hit the suitcase instead, and my dad's just standing there, you know. And legend has it that's what happened. Yeah, that's a classic story.
That was before our time. That's legendary.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the things that were never around. But that was
my dad had a knack. My dad had a knack for. He used to play a lot of ribs, and especially down in Fort Worth. And he'd get an ice cream cone, and all the boys would have like a little locker area where they'd sit back in. And he took an ice cream cone. I don't know how he did it, but he took a dump on the ice cream cone and twirled it like Dairy Queen. And then he set it in this guy's locker room, or this little locker, and oh my God. And I just marveled at the fact that how could you twirl it like Dairy Queen without getting shit all over you? Yeah, my dad was a master ribber.
Did he teach you the art of the rib, or was this something that you sort of had to figure out on your own, or were you a big ribber at all?
No, I didn't want to do that. And I figured that people would be waiting for me to do that because of his reputation. And I just never really wanted to do that. I'm not a practical joker. And I mean, how are you going to follow that, you know?
You never learned
a bigger cone?
Yeah, you never learned how to shit in a cone then, with a swirl.
Yes. I'll tell you a story. He told me to go get him some beer, in Akron, Ohio or something. So I went and got some beer and I knocked on the door and he says, open the door. And I'm his son now. He's playing a rib on me, right? I reached down and opened the door and there was shit on the handle. And then he swings the door open and he had a garbage can full of water and he doused me and then he slammed the door in my face. So I got a little bit of treatment there. He was mad. I said, why did you do that to me? He goes, I was in a bad mood.
I heard that story about Steve. That kept Steve Kern from getting the strap in New York. Before Backlund, it was between him and Bob.
Yeah.
To get, but I guess they'd gone to Japan with, and Blassie was there. You know, Blassie was a legend in Japan, with Ricky Dozan and all that stuff. And they'd done with the door thing and the crap on the door handle and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember back at TV, every time, you know, how the kid, he loved Fred, you know.
Yeah.
Vince, he loved Freddie. And every time the name would come up or something, and Freddie would just go off, you know, about Steve and, you know, all that, you know, and I go, oh God. So I remember James one time mentioning that it was like down to between Steve and Bob for who was going to replace Billy for that WWF strap up there.
Yeah.
I said, well, I was obviously before the Japan trip that he was considered that, because Blassie came back and just soiled him, you know, just corrupt all over, you know, every chance he got.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of which, you both wrestled Bob Backlund in the early 80s. And I don't know if Bob's getting like a bit of a bad rap like in later years because he wasn't as colourful as Hogan and Superstar and stuff like that. But I mean, you both wrestled Bob. How did you find him as probably in and out the ring and as a draw?
Well, they gave me an opportunity to wrestle Bob, and first time I ever wrestled, and they wanted me to do the hour-long Broadway in New York in the Garden, and had never been done there before. I just came up from the Carolinas, and all I did was long friggin' hour matches with Flair and the Andersons or whoever, you know. I was a 60-minute man and not, you know, just doing all these Broadways and shit. So I worked with Backlund, and you know what? I enjoyed it. Bob was different. He wasn't flashy or anything. He was just a wrestler, and but I enjoyed working with him. I really did. And those hour-long matches, and then one time they held the belt up. So, you know, all my experiences with Bob were good.
I loved Bob. I thought Bob.
Yeah,
he was the perfect guy for the perfect time. He was ultra clean cut, baby face, you know, goody two shoes kind of guy. But he was perfect for the, you know, he represented the business. I mean, I always look at it like the heel's got to carry it. The heel got to carry the promo. Right. He's got to carry the heat. He's got to generate, you know, your promo, you're working the ring, everything your heat, you carry everything that goes on into the ring. And then when you get with Bob, you know, I always found, I love Backlund. You know, I think he's great. And I hear all kinds of, you know, stuff. And maybe, you know, for what they're doing now, of course, you know, well, none of us can get booked.
Yeah,
none of us can get a job nowadays. Not even as a referee. But Bob was he was just, you know, he was just a hell of a guy, hell of a good performer.
Well, like you said, he was perfect for that time, and he was always, you know, he had the short little shoes on, and he was just a wrestler personified. No showmanship, but if he had a good opponent like you or me that could, work, make him work, and then you had to be long matches though. You had to put the long matches in with him to tell a story, right?
Yeah.
So
he was safe.
I enjoyed it too.
Everything about him was safe. He'd never hurt anybody.
Right.
As far as I know, hours and hours and hours I did with him. No. Never, he was always. In fact, one time I figured, the strap is mine. We did a spot where he came over, and he's like, Don, rest here for a minute. He says you came over on the top and you landed on one of my balls. And it hurt.
Oh my God.
Okay, I just laid in the hole till he was ready. But that was he was he gets bad rap for hell. He held that strap for almost 6 years.
Well, I liked working with him, and he does get a bad rep, but he was great. He was good. He was, for that time, he was perfect.
Yeah, you couldn't have. And he represented himself and everything. He was great. But then when Hulk came, you had to get with the ball game, because it turned from like a competition into a movie where Hulk was Tom Cruise, and everybody else was working for him, and at the end he was going to rip off the plastic mask and come back and kick your ass, and that was just the way Vince turned the business. It was like that, but even with Hulk, and Hulk was such a glowing presence with the blonde hair and the 6'6" and the tan, and the body. Hulk was spectacular. I hear Hulk get knocked a lot too now, and what do I think of Hulk? I said, God, every time I heard his music come, I'd start cheering myself.
That era,
here comes the payday,
Well, that era, and then if I saw myself booked with Hogan, here comes the payday. I mean,
that's
like
it, baby. Yeah,
and he was great. Like this. Hogan.
You didn't have to do it.
How long did that last?
Get your couple minutes. The Roy Shires match all the way. You start the match. You get 2 or 3 minutes of heat. He makes the big comeback. Then you go into the arm or the leg or whatever you happen to be working. And then boom, 12, 15 minutes into the match is boom, up, Hulk up, and go home. That was it.
Yeah, it was easy.
That was easy.
I used to just grab him in like this, the chin lock.
Yeah.
As soon as I got it down, then the people go, ooh.
Yeah.
And then fuck, it was easy. So easy. It was so easy.
But you had to get, mentally you had to get with the program, what was going on, and who was putting your stake on the table.
It was him.
It was a big guy.
Yeah, it was a big guy.
I don't know what happened later with all the NWO and all those things going on. I was luckily I wasn't around for any of that.
Well, that was in WCW.
That Bischoff, Greg Bischoff, and Vince Russo, and all those other guys got involved.
Yeah. But that was a good NWO was a good deal, But that's when Hogan turned heel, and but it worked, Hollywood Hogan. It worked for him.
Sure, anything he did, or just about everything he did worked.
Yeah.
Now we've had guys did with the Rock and Stone Cold and Cena and stuff. We've had guys come and replace him with the different styles, different types. But he laid the foundation. He put the tracks down for the train.
Yeah, sure did.
Hey, I want to ask you.
Well, and Vince had something to do with it too.
What do you think of Vince coming back then? This has been a year in the making almost. All this news of him going with all these NDAs, and then he's come back with a sinister mustache. What do you think of all that?
Well, I knew he wasn't going anywhere.
He never left.
I just saw that interview the other day that he did with whoever that company is that he went with. He's still got the controlling interest. He's still the boss. He's not going nowhere. Why should he?
Yeah. Yeah, he never left.
No.
I think the program, he must have given the Triple H, he must have handed over the programming, because they've had some nice programs come down lately with Roman and his thing, and then with Sammy. I think it was unfortunate. You know what threw and life is funny, because I watched some of it, is when Dusty's kid got in there, and he got white hot. He was just his first time through there, and the one before he tore the pec, and he was. I think they were ready to switch the belts then, and then everything. He blew that hole for a whole year. He blew that angle. Said bring him back in and get him. They got to bring him back in and get him hot again. As it were. Because he just timing. Just karma. You just boy. Yeah. How could things be more? You got this guy. He's white hot. The father. Father's a legend. He's on his way to be He was on every show on TBS and TNT. He was on talk shows and this kind of show and that kind of show. He basically took over the network. Then they must have. I'm sure they had everything laid out before he came in, what he was going to do and what was going to happen, and then bang, he tore that pec off. I was, oh my God, that screwed everything up. I think. Yeah. Just in my impression from watching from the back, from the side, from the background.
Right.
Did Don?
Nothing you can do about that. Knees and pecs and stuff.
Did you Don? Did you ever get managed by Freddie Blassie, or was it just Lou and the Wiz?
No, I wasn't managed by Fred. I was the Wizard. Then I was with Lou. I started with Ernie, who was Greg's Greg had him for a long time. Ernie was a great guy.
And Lou.
I was with Ernie, then I was with Lou, then I finished up with Fuge. Well, then I actually was supposed to go to Billy Graham, but then we went to Europe, and I started drinking my own beers, and that was the end. The end of the Rock. The Rock turned to sand.
That was So that was. I sure would have liked to have done that angle. Then Jimmy Hart. You were already gone when Jimmy Hart came in, right? Mouth of South.
He's a good man. Jimmy's a good man. I see him. I see him all around. That guy works. He must work 25 hours a day.
I see him on podcasts. I see him on. I mean, he pops up all the time, And
does he have heat? Has he ever had heat with anybody?
No.
Maybe down in Tennessee back in those days when those.
One person, Jerry Lawler. Because the old story is, right, and I was reminded of this recently, is Jerry broke his leg. He's playing flag football or whatever, but then they said like Joe LeDuc did it on TV. But then Jimmy, and then Lawler was going to be out for months, and then Jimmy Hart went on television in an interview and said, "What do you do with an old horse when it can't run anymore? You shoot it."
Oh God.
And then apparently the next time Jerry came back to TV, his legs healed. The first time he's in a match with him, or Jimmy's on the outside, he blindsides him and breaks his jaw. Like the first punch, straight through, breaks his jaw with one punch.
With Jimmy Hart?
Yeah.
John?
Apparently, Jimmy won't admit it anymore. Jimmy won't admit it publicly, and neither will Jerry, because they're both in business together. But that's the story.
I never heard that story before.
Neither have I.
Well,
that was must have been quite a punch, because Jimmy Hart's about 135 soaking wet.
I never heard that story. Are you sure that's true?
Dutch has told me, and someone else has told me that as well. Dutch Mantell, who was in Memphis at the time. So take it for what it's worth, but that's apparently what it was.
Okay.
With the Dutchman. With just speaking about Jimmy, and you said he works 25 hours a day. Is it 25 hours a day and he's always upbeat? He's like always on.
Yeah,
I've never seen him down.
This guy, he never runs out of gas. He never wears out. We used to split a room a lot of times when we were together, and if we had a 7:00 flight or something, I remember this one. We had a 7:00 flight. And we could see the damn airport from our window where we were sharing a room together, and we go to bed early. Jimmy's up at 4:00 in the morning, blow drying his mustache and his beard and his hair. Oh my gosh, Jimmy, what the hell? We don't have to be there that early. I remember that. He was too much. Never. That
was a manager thing. Fuji's at the airport an hour ahead of time too.
Yeah, but then he'd get on an airplane and he'd sleep. He'd just sit there and he could he got his sleep in somehow. I can't sleep on airplanes.
Me neither. With who of all the managers you've had, who acted most like a real life manager behind the scenes as well? You know, like, I don't know, help sort out the renter cars or manage the schedule or anything like that.
The Grand Wizard, and Jimmy Hart. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would they do?
Well, the Wizard would just, he would always tell me what's going on with Vince, the old man. That's when the old man was running it. And so he was like a real manager. He'd say, well, Greg, you're going to do this and that. He'd give me the insight. Now, Jimmy Hart he would always be with me. And as far as the interviews go, he would just lead the intro and then he'd give me the rest of the interview. He never tried to take away my interview time. A lot of managers back then did that.
Yeah.
They would talk, but there was guys, like Freddie Blassie and stuff. There was guys that they put Freddie Blassie with guys that really couldn't talk. So
yeah, him and Lou.
Part of the reason they did that.
Speaking of Lou, I know Lou managed both of you. I'll ask this Dom first, but
right.
What's the funniest Captain Lou behind the scenes story, Don, that you can remember? It always involves drinking, I know that.
Oh, it would have to be the King's Table there in Allentown.
I was just going to say that where they had the dinner. They had the dinner after the
lobster tails.
Yeah, after the first day of tapings, and we would go to whatever that restaurant was. Oh my God! And Lou would get so drunk.
He would get fired. He'd get fired. He'd get fired Wednesday night.
Yeah,
and you come in like a puppy dog. The next day, senior would hire him back.
Yeah,
you'd hear the payoff. Skolin be walking around, and they'd be the managers would be catching up during the week, all the spot shows and the house shows we did, and you'd see Blue would have his bottle of vodka with 18 glasses around. Vodka water, God. Vodka soda, vodka this. And you'd hear, after a time, you'd get the payoffs, and you'd hear Lou. You'd start hearing Lou. That son of a bitch. That Irish mother. That's no good. Next thing you know, he's been, hey, out. You're out. You're fired.
Yeah.
And the next day,
I was there for some of that stuff. That was unbelievable. And Vince would get mad at him, the old man. He'd fire him. Yeah, that was some.
He was sitting. I remember he was sitting at the top with his shirt open, the rubber bands through his cheek and everything. He had a lobster tail in each hand, and he's just dipping them and eating them like ice cream cones. Yeah, cocksucker. just telling everybody, oh God.
Oh, unbelievable.
But away from the business, he's like a puppy dog.
But that's classics. I'm glad you brought that up. The King's Table.
Oh, man.
Who would be sat on the King? I mean, Vince Senior, Vince Junior. Who else would be sat there?
And then Wizard would be right next to him, and then Gorilla Monsoon would be there. And then I was always invited. Sergeant Slaughter was there. Muraco was there. Just different guys, but mainly that crew. They didn't invite everybody, you know.
Depending who you got. Yeah, if you got an invite for that night or not.
Yeah, you had to be invited.
Lou would go whether he got invited or not.
God, I'm glad you brought that up. That's some good memory.
You know, you two are both sort of privy to, you know, the early mid-'80s, you know, when it goes from Vince Senior to Vince Junior. As far as like day-to-day and where you were traveling and stuff like that, what were the big differences that you noticed between Seniors running the company and Vince Junior taking over? What changed?
Oh,
everything.
Yeah. We started getting in airplanes a lot more. He went for the big expansion and taking over the country and the world. So we were going to California all the time, and Chicago and Seattle and you name it.
When senior ran it, you'd have road trip, and it was just the Northeast corridor there.
Yeah, just the Northeast corridor.
It'd be like Rochester, Buffalo,
right.
Albany. You know, you have 3 days up in that end of New York, and then you'd come back for 3 days in New Hampshire and Vermont, or 3 days down in out by around Pittsburgh area or something like that, and then you come back up. And when Vince took over, you'd be gone for 2-3 weeks out to the. You may start on the West Coast, and you go to the Midwest, then you go to the South, and then you may find your way home after a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you'd be in places like Butte, Montana.
Yeah,
I remember, and Bozeman, Montana, and Montana, and Nebraska, and Iowa, and all this. Oh. And then all up the West Coast I enjoyed, but I didn't enjoy the Midwest that much. But we were on the road all the time. But it was good. It was good times. It was good money. And he had that TV placed just right all over the place. And I remember we would show up in a town, and we had to go. Remember this? We'd go upstairs and do interviews at the hotel we were staying at.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, to catch up with us. So it was constant.
You're in a town and be at the Holiday Inn at 11 o'clock in the morning, whatever Holiday Inn, and me and Gene would be there, and you'd be filming, you do interviews to 5 or 6 o'clock, get something to eat, then go to the matches.
Then you'd have to go to the matches. Boy. Good times, though. Good time. We were young and full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah, I could handle it back then.
Yeah.
What countries? Because I don't know how many people know this, but like when Vince Jr. started taking over, you all of a sudden started doing a lot more like international tours. Did you go to like Israel at some certain times, like in the mid-'80s? I know you went to Australia quite a lot.
Australia a couple times. And we went to Hawaii and Japan. But I remember going to Germany, England, all over England. Where was Spain, Italy. I always said Germany. What was that? Austria, not Australia, but Austria, Vienna. Yeah, just all over the place.
Where we started, we're doing the Middle East, Doha, Kuwait,
right,
Bahrain, all those places. With Jim Troy and Fuji were running the shows back then.
Oh, I remember Jim Troy, yeah.
Were you there when Coco Beware and Jim Troy had that little argument in the hotel
I heard
room?
about it. Coco probably kicked his ass, right?
Pretty much, I believe that's how the story goes, yeah. Thoroughly.
Yeah.
Do you remember also, so obviously you're going to more towns, let's say 83, 84, 85, around that time. Do you remember which towns Vince McMahon Jr. was really keen to either take over or beat the NWA or AWA to the punch, like outdraw them, where they were still battle towns in the territories?
Detroit was one of his good towns. I'm just trying to think. St. Louis. And St. Louis was always NWA. Vince went right in there, but it was kind of him and Mushnick did it together, so it was together rather than just going in and taking it away from Houston, Dallas, New Orleans, yeah. I remember I went and did TBS, and it was WWF on TBS in Atlanta.
When did you, Greg, and you, Don, first meet? First year, territory. Where did you first meet?
No,
at Omaha.
Oh, that was actually Omaha.
Omaha, yeah.
Yeah, we
Greg from Geigel. You're coming from Geigel, right?
Yeah.
Geigel, and I was coming from Minneapolis, from Vern.
So it was Joe Duthick was a promoter in Omaha, so he would get the guys from Minneapolis and then the guys from Kansas City down south. That's where me and Don met. First time.
It was pretty much grandfathered into that Omaha thing because he'd been there. His family had been there for so long, I think.
Right.
That he just Vern and those guys just let him run. And I think they're all partners. They're all taking points off everything.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah, that's true.
I'm interested in this. Let's say WWF again, but Greg and both you and Don, who are your favorite travel partners to go up and down the road with?
Oh, well, back in the day, Brutus was, and because we were tag team champions together, we did a lot of stuff together, and he was cool back then. Go ahead, Don. Who?
Piper.
Oh yeah. How could I forget? I did a lot of car trips with Piper in the Carolinas. Oh my God!
As long as he wasn't driving.
Yeah.
He was the world's.
He had that little
driver.
Cadillac. He drove all over the place.
Oh God! On the other side of the road.
Yeah.
He was always talking, turning around, taking his hands off the wheel. Oh my God!
I remember one time we all got pink eye for some reason. We got pink eye. So I went to the eye doctor. I got these drops, and he goes, "Fuck those drops." He would take beer, and he poured it in his eyes, and he cured the pink eye by pouring beer in his eyes while he's driving.
Did it work?
It worked. It got rid of them. I've got the little drops, Of course, mine worked, but he had that. He said, "I'll get rid of it this way," and he sure did. I guess because of the alcohol in
it. Yeah.
Crazy guy.
Go on, Don. You ask questions. You're the host. I've been jumping in too much. Go on.
I'm good. I don't know. I've dug the well, but I dug.
Okay. I've got one for you both then. You both entered the WWF in like the early 80s, around that time. Bruno Sammartino was the king at one point, and sort of still is. He's the living legend. You spoke about this, Don, to me. How was Bruno to deal with at that point? Because he seemed, as far as what you told me, getting a bit embittered with how the business is turning, and he wasn't as happy to be in the business as, or with Vince at the time as he might have been.
Well, he was pissed he never got that Pittsburgh territory. He wanted that. He wanted Pittsburgh, and the old man went back to Senior. Well, Senior wouldn't give it, and then I guess Junior held true to it, because there's a hell of a lot of all kinds of towns. We used to go to Pittsburgh, and there's all kinds of 8, 10, 12 grand towns within 90-100 mile drive, just within the Pittsburgh area, that you could have made a fortune on. And he had his own TV. He had everything going, and I guess the old man. I'm just my assumption that the Senior wouldn't cut it loose. I know when he came in, him and Junior had a lot of heat, but they buried the hatchet, and they did some programs with Roddy. I think maybe that was to help his son. They did some stuff with Piper and stuff, but and he was at that time he was a little bitter. And then I ran into him a few years later, and he was really happy and really content, and nice guy, fun to be around.
Right. That's true.
What were your experiences with Bruno, Greg? I don't know if you ever wrestled him.
Yeah, I did. And twice. I did once in the Garden, Boston Garden, and once in Madison Square Garden. And, he held me down a little bit too much, but, he still gave me a good match. And I think I got DQ'd or something. So it was a thrill just wrestling him. And it was when he was already an announcer, and he still got in the ring once in a while. So at least I got to wrestle the legend in Boston and New York, But he put me in that arm bar, and he'd run me around. And I go, please, you're killing me. I'm thinking this, but I just let him have his little bit of glory there, and it was okay.
Did you ever work with Thez?
I respected him. Go ahead.
Did you ever work with Thez?
No.
No. Bruno and Thez. I never worked. I never got the chance to work with them.
Was it you that never got to wrestle Flair, Don, or was it Jerry Lawler that you never wrestled? I can never remember which one it was.
Flair.
You never wrestled Flair?
Never wrestled.
When he was breaking in, when he was a big fat guy.
Yeah, he was big and fat.
When they're out at the ranch, out at the barn there, and he was just in some spot show out around St. Paul somewhere, and he was he was in love. He was crazy for Dusty and Murdoch. And he was picking him up, taking him to the airport. He was around, and he wanted the worst way to be a heel. So I went out there. I was like 220, 215, 20 pounds, and he was like 300 pounds. So I laid back. I let him heel. I came back after the match. I caught hell from Wally Carbo for
selling him.
Yeah, for letting him heal for a while. Oh God.
Yeah, so first time I ever wrestled Rick was in San Antonio, and I was just a young kid too. 1973, Ray Stevens and somebody else brought him down from Minneapolis, and he worked with me. I didn't even know it was Ric Flair. I mean, and years later, when me and Rick were tagged up, he told me the story where I wrestled him in 1973 and didn't even know who he was because he looked like Curly Joe. He's all fat, and bald-headed, or his head was shaved. Looked just like Curly Joe.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch his last match ever? You two are basically the same age as Rick.
No, so I watched some of it on YouTube. It was just bits and pieces of it. It was terrible. And he said that he was all dehydrated and but he, if you're gonna wrestle, don't wrestle with a damn t-shirt on. Just go out there and let your skin hang out. That's why he couldn't breathe. I mean, you ever tried to wrestle with a t-shirt on? You can't do it. So show your baggy tits and whatever, I mean, just show it. I'm never going to wrestle again, but if I did, I wouldn't do it with a t-shirt on.
When was your last match, Greg?
When was my last one?
Yeah.
I can't even remember. I quit a long time ago. Right after I got in the Hall of Fame, independent guys were calling me and I go work a few, but I gave it up. Around 2008, I gave it up.
So,
and I could still do it. I just didn't. My wife would say, she goes, you don't look as good as you used to, and everybody's going to think you're broke because you want to wrestle. And I go, I wasn't broke. I just still enjoyed it. But she was right. Get out of the ring. It's, too long to be in it. When you get close to 60, the hell with that,
Do you know, I nearly saw you in 2000. You were doing a tour of the UK.
Right.
And you didn't make it to my town because the day
Yokozuna.
before...
I was over there with Yokozuna.
Exactly. You were at Liverpool, and then I was in Stockport, the next town, and Yokozuna died the day before. And I don't know why you didn't come, though.
Well, right after he died, I told that Brian Dixon, is that his name?
Yeah.
The promoter, I said, I got to leave. Give me my money. I can't take it here. And I was just really, because we were such good friends over there. And I says, I just want to go home. I took a train down to the airport in London and left. But it only had about 3 or 4 days left. He paid me and he let me go. I was really depressed.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
He was such a beautiful guy, and we would be in the van and we'd smoke weed, and we got the weed from Amsterdam, and then so we ran out of weed and we were down somewhere in one of those towns, coastal towns down the south, and he stayed up all night and drank with these other English guys, and they got him all shit-faced and everything. And then we went back and wrestled, and he stayed up all night. I went upstairs and went to bed, came down there still drinking. I go, oh no. But it was because he ran out of pot. So he went back to the hotel, and I was staying at the hotel on that same floor, and he passed away. Horrible.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
It was big news here as well. I remember reading all the newspapers as well. It was a big story at the time, and it was such a shame.
Oh God.
Yeah. We've got running with a dog now. It sounds like. Is that yours, Don?
Yeah, one of them.
Go on, have you got any? Well, I'll ask a couple more and then I'll let you go because I know Greg's tired and Don's got to run.
How you know I'm tired?
Don's woken you up, hasn't he?
I am tired. I'm doing pretty good though, right? I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, you're doing really well, man.
Thank you.
I was. It's when Don showed up. That's when the energy. He energized.
Get the trash me for a half hour.
Greg, I've got to ask, right? So, Don, Roddy, Bob Orton Jr., Adrian, right? So, for fans like me, we refer to that as the original Kliq of the 80s. Like, not like politically, but just like the sort of like the group of the time in the 80s.
Who's that now? Say that again.
Don Muraco, Roddy Piper, Bob Orton, Adrian Adonis.
Okay.
Were they thick as thieves back in the day, as we're told?
Yeah, of course, until Adrian got all crazy. You know, Adrian went off the deep end. Now, who else did you mention there? Piper?
And Orton Jr.
Bob Orton Jr., yeah. Yeah. But you know, Piper and Bob Orton they didn't get along that well, though. I mean, I guess they were with each other too much. I hear them arguing all the time, but yeah, so I guess we
weren't so much office. Roddy was the guy that had the we had the hotline to Vince and doing the programs and stuff. The others, or maybe Adrian as well, but Bob and I weren't part of. Fuji did a lot of my, because I told James once before that Demolition. We were driving down the road. I was with Fuji one day. I said, "You ever, the Atlanta TV? You see these Road Warrior guys on TV?" I said, "They're over." I said, these guys are hot.
Oh, yeah.
Two big guys, muscular, and I said, there's plenty of room for, another, group like, a tag team like that up here. And then he went to Vince, but then the Demolition was born off of that. So that's, because I said, boy, the Road Warriors, they're over so strong on TV. I was figuring somebody else, would you get up with.
Well, when they came up to WWF, it was like I didn't get over like they did down in WCW. I mean, they already had Demolition up there, so it kind of took away from that,
Yeah, it was the same gimmick. Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of hurt them. I mean, they got over, but it kind of hurt their big entrance up there, the Road Warriors, because Demolition was a spinoff from the Road Warriors. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, well, it seemed, and that Fuchs got to manage them, but it seemed like a natural, that a group, that a tag team like that would get over for WWF, because it was just it was just a natural.
Right.
They were too similar, weren't they?
That man, he was with them for several years.
They were sort of too similar because they put them together straight away. I think Demolition and the Road Warriors put them together straight away, and apparently, just the audience just wasn't reacting like they thought they would.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I'm gonna. I'll tell you what. I'll give you one more question, and then I'll let you both go. Who's got the better Ultimate Warrior story?
Wow. I rode with him. I heard Billy Graham tell this story one time, and it was a different town that I was in, because I was with the Bulldogs, myself, and UW was driving from Tallahassee, and how he didn't get he would just slam on the gas, slam on the brake. Everything was tires and squealing and everything, all the way to the building. And then we're the hotel we were at. We're a couple of blocks from where we were working that night. So I said, I'll walk. And I was walking there, and I hear all the cars and stuff going crazy. Then I remember him potatoing the hell out of Dino Bravo, and Dino was pissed.
Oh, don't get Dino mad. He had a bad temper, and he
this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. He's holding his jaws,
Yeah. Well, my stories were, I only worked with him a couple of times, but he'd come out there and shake the ropes, and he'd run. I said, you know what? I ain't doing this silly shit with him. I just let him run back and forth until he blew up. he'd run and shake the ropes and run back and forth, run back and forth. I just stood there. I said, okay. So, but I liked him. He was down deep. It was deep, but down deep, he was a good guy.
Yeah, I found him. Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah, he was.
The stories you hear now are different.
Yeah.
You hear stories in everybody now, I guess.
Yeah, but he was. I was with him in Vienna, and he stuck up for me there. We got a bunch of extra money. I mean, I'll never forget that. He was a good guy. He was good. It took a while to get to know him.
There was a story I heard. I think Ken Shamrock told it me, and he said he had a tryout match with Ken Shamrock. He had a tryout match with the WWF in like 1989 or whatever. And he said when he came back through Gorilla, the Ultimate Warrior was passed out on the floor because of exhaustion, because he like blown himself up, like doing the running back and forth, and everyone was just stepping over him, and like it happened every night.
I've heard that story before. You're right. Well, he would just blow himself out, So, but the people loved that. But shit, you got to do that every night and run back and forth. What else? There's nothing left in the tank after that. But he had some good qualities,
And is there anything you want to throw in, Don, as a last question, or do you want to leave it?
No. I just say I was a baby face. By then, I had my baby blue tights, and I was I was
baby
blue and getting ready to hit the road there. So I was still a baby face.
Was it hard?
But just the driving. His driving was. He would go insane. I never had the opportunity to work with him, no.
Well, you're lucky.
Baby blue tights. Who came up with that theory?
Yeah, it's the curse of the baby blue tights.
Was it Honky who said that first?
I think he did.
Oh, I never got to any honky tonk stories. I love that. I used to get places. I put my bag right next to his and sit out. He'd have the gossip from all over the country. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew everything about everybody. Oh God.
Yeah.
I had fun with. I liked honky too. He's in Phoenix, right?
He's a good man.
In Phoenix, Molly, okay, everybody.
He lives in Phoenix. Yeah.
Oh, my dogs are bugging me for their bones now this morning.
I think that's about as good a time as I need to sort of end the podcast then, isn't it? When the dogs are bugging you for the bones, I'll wrap up and everything. All right then. Listen, thank you so much for doing this. Apparently, I may be having a part 2 with you, Greg. I don't know. Maybe this Sunday, so I might see you then.
Okay, this weekend, I'm here for 4 days. So.
Yeah. I'll be bugging you with more questions. I'm sorry in advance.
No, that's fine. It's easy here.
Yeah,
I like it.
Good stuff. Right, okay. I'll shut down this podcast. Do you want to say bye, Don?
Bye, Don.
Actually, stay on for a second, Don.
Bye,
afterwards.
Don. Good seeing you.
Okay, Greg, good luck, man.
Yeah, stay on, Don, for a minute. Stay on. I want to chat to you afterwards briefly. All right, I'm going to wrap up the podcast. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you again next time.